my hands, a halter and a lead rope, and also a carrot stick with a savvy string attached. The carrot stick and the savvy string is just used for basically like extending your arm. It's just basically an extension. Otherwise, it's used for the same purposes. But if my arms are long enough, then I just use my arms instead. The halter, it's for the horse, and so you can control them easier. Otherwise, if they don't want to do what you're asking of them, they'll simply just walk away. And the lead rope is part of that, and also you can use it as a tool too for many of the 7 games. Number 1, friendly game. This game helps your horse build confidence and teaches your horse that you are not a threat. During this game, you can use a carrot stick or your lead rope either way, or even your hands. One thing you can do, you can turn and just swing the rope over their back, on their butt, or even around their legs. You can also, simply with using a carrot stick or your lead rope, just rub it on them, or let them smell it. And also another version of this game is called helicopter, where you swing your rope or your carrot stick, if you have a savvy string attached, overhead. And these are all things of the friendly game. Number 2, porcupine game. This game teaches your horse to move away from physical pressure. There's multiple different ways to play this game. One of them is you can simply take your hand and put pressure on the nose and ask your horse to back up. And then after that, play a friendly game as soon as you release the pressure to tell them that that's what you wanted. You can also place your hand on their chest and simply push just a little bit. And of course, stroke them and play friendly game afterwards. And then either on their front end or their hind quarters, you can apply pressure. And then for the hind quarters, take one hand this way. And if your horse doesn't like the front end, then you can simply place a hand on the neck and a hand on their shoulder, and both play squirt. And those are all the different ways to play porcupine game. Number 3, driving game. This game allows you to move your horse without touching them. You can either use your hands or the lead rope, or if you have a carrot stick. When you turn, you can ask them either for their front end or hind quarters, but my pony isn't the best at the front end, and so I'm just going to ask her to move her hind quarters. You can take the lead rope or your hand and simply ask them to move their butt over. And sometimes they won't understand what you're saying, and so simply correct them just a little bit and then ask them again. And as soon as they do what you want, release the pressure and start to play friendly game. Number 4, yo-yo game. This game requires your horse to be able to back up and then come forward to you without pulling on the rope. For this game, you may wiggle the rope though, or use a carrot stick if you need. But the main thing for this game is not having to use tools or anything, and only using your hands and the lead rope. So you can wiggle it and ask your pony or horse to back up, and then simply just invite them back, and they'll hopefully come back to you. And if you have problems with this, like I said, you can use a carrot stick or other tools if you have any. Also, for if you are using a carrot stick, when you're asking them to back up, if they're not backing up for you, then you can either tap the carrot stick on the ground in front of them, apply pressure to their chest, or even just use a savvy string attached to the carrot stick to just tap them with it. And then of course after this game, play lots of friendly game, and that's just about it to the yo-yo game. Number 5, circling game. This game is just asking your horse to circle around you. There's 3 parts to this game: the send, the allow, and then you disengage the hindquarters and bring them back. For this, you can stand here facing your horse and you send them out. You allow them to walk in a circle. For this, I'm only going to have my pony walk 1 circle, but, well, maybe 2, 1 to 2, but the minimum you're supposed to do is 2 and maximum is 4. Otherwise, it just becomes a game of lunging. For this, when you want to disengage the hindquarters, simply lean over a little bit and basically look at their butt, and they'll come into you. And if you want to be specific, you can just have them disengage their hindquarters and not come back to you all the way. That's how it's supposed to be done, but we've taught my pony to come back to me and check in on if I want her to do another circle or not. Number 6, sideways game. This game has your horse move sideways. For this game, you'll turn towards your horse, and this game includes driving game, which you can also use this as one of the many parts to driving game. And so you put both hands out. With most horses, you need to block their head because they'll feel uncomfortable with this and a little bit nervous. And the best way to get them moving sideways is to have their head back first and start with the front end. So you'll go like this and just ask them to move back and try to move both of the sides equally. And then as soon as you are good and you think it's enough practice, just release and pet him and play the friendly game. And for this, you can practice as many times as you want and try to keep your horse moving both ends equally. Otherwise, it just becomes you asking them to move and do a front end yield or a hind quarter yield. Number 7, squeeze game. This game asks your horse to walk through a tight space. It can be very hard for some horses because they don't like tight spaces and they can be very claustrophobic about it. For this game, you can do something like this where we just set up a water trough up near our shed, and for this, you're going to stand here and then just ask your horse to circle around you and go through the tight space. And you can do this a few times or as many times as you'd like. And also you can fix this game some and do different things for your horse to walk through. Like if you've learned that it doesn't like fences or something, and so you'll ask it to walk through like a gateway or anything, and you can practice this, and soon your horse will be very good at this. And when you're done asking them to circle around you and go through, like for the circling game, just disengage their hindquarters and have them come back to you.